For the removal and install of your HVAC actuator, you're going to need an electronic ratchet. This makes things way easier. You're going to see that this is going to save a lot of time for this project. But if you don't have one of these, then you can use your normal 1/4 size ratchet. This is by Matco. It's a 10-inch. This one did most of the hard work for me. About a 5-inch 1/4 size with a 7mm socket on there. You're going to need a light of some sort. Of course, you can use your iPhone, but having a dedicated light like this are usually brighter and usually are going to go a little bit further for you.
To begin the removal process, open up the glove box and remove any items stored inside. The actuator is located behind it, so we need to get the glove box out of the way. Gently push in the sides of the glove box and swing it out of position. Now that we have the glove box partially removed, we can locate the actuator on the left. There are 3 7mm screws securing the actuator to the HVAC box. Let's first disconnect the electrical connector connecting to the actuator motor. Squeeze the tab and pull out. Doing this project, I discovered the location of the cabin air filter. I've actually never seen the filter in here before, so I removed it and replaced it.
Damn, that's fucked.
To have access to the bottom 2 screws, remove the kicker panel located on the bottom of the dash. Pull down and back to remove.
This is the kicker panel that comes out of the passenger side, and let's take a look at some of the tabs that hold it in. We have a metal tab, metal, 2 plastic on the inside closest to the center. So you just want to kind of give it a nice smooth pull off, and these should just snap right out of place. Before putting it back, make sure they are on the male side and they didn't get stuck inside. You might have to remove them and then reset them onto the posts. There's 2 little rubber dowels that locate. Oh hell yeah, okay. So you can reach this from the bottom. I have to close this, lay inside of here to get to those bolts. I'm gonna try to put a flashlight inside. See if that'll give you some light on the subject. So the top bolt is just right there.
Using a short 1/4-inch ratchet, remove the top 7mm screw. Space is limited, but patience will get you through the storm.
Okay, I think I got it out. Nice. Alright. So now I should be able to take out this actuator. So I got the 1 bolt that's on top and the 2 bolts on the bottom. They're 7mm. I'm going to pull this straight out. Rotate it. This is the OEM actuator. this is our new one. So thankfully it's in the correct position. I won't have to do anything with those controls or the HVAC controls. Flip it over and make sure both sides are the same. Yeah. Just about the same. The bracket's right. Faucet feels the same. This feels a little bit cheaper. Pins look the same. So I'm going to try to install this now. Okay. So I just add a little bit of multi-purpose grease to the groove here, just to keep it all lubricated. I want to look at the linkages here, clean those off just a little bit. Some grease on them. Looks like a little rubber gasket. I don't want that to fall off, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. I'm going to start with the top bolt, try to thread this in, and then the bottom two should be pretty easy, because there's a lot more room if you just take it from the bottom. There's a kicker panel that you take out, you can access those two bottom bolts. But the top bolt is kind of the tricky one. I did it with about a 5-inch 1/4 ratchet, short 7mm socket on it. That's kind of what did it. To install it, I'm going to try to just try to hold the socket, put the bolt, or I should put the screw inside of the socket, and then just try to manually turn it in, and then get my ratchet on. Sometimes the ratchet's kind of tough when there's no, it's not grabbing. So hopefully with this bolt, it's kind of it's a screw, so usually those thread pretty nicely and tight. So you want to make sure that everything is aligned. Your actuator linkages should go into that white piece. So I want to go check on the bottom to make sure that the arm is actually in there. Those arms are actually what control the doors, so it's kind of important that those are in place. I'm going to take a look on the bottom real quick. Yeah. Alright. It looks like it's hooked up correctly. Now it's time to just install it. Screw it in and plug in the wiring harness. And the 5-inch ratchet, the end of the ratchet should go back towards the firewall. That's going to give you the most room, and kind of using it like this instead of a traditional kind of having the handle pointing towards you. Having it pointed away will give you the most room. If you have a deep 7mm socket, that'll probably work really good too. I don't know where mine went. Okay, got that bottom one tied up, or that top one tied up. Let's do the two on the bottom. Good to go. Alright, so now I can plug in my connector and test it out. Let's see if it works. So we'll move it to defrost. Alright, yep, we got some motion. Okay, yeah, the defrost is working. Let's go back to normal AC. Sweet. Yep. Let me Make sure all the zones work. Defrost and feet, yep, and just defrost. Lovely. Alright, that works out.
I would like to share my teardown of the motor and the gearbox of the HVAC actuator. The cover just snaps on with a tab on each side. You can release the tabs with a small flathead screwdriver, but the plastic is pretty brittle on my example, so they just broke off. Inside is a gear system with 4 different gears. A worm gear is attached to the servo motor, and that's what powers the operation. On the final gear, one end is attached to the linkages for the blend doors, and the other end is a sensor that lets the car know what position the blend doors are in. Sometimes the gears in this box will strip out and sound like a grinding sound, but in my case and in other cases, the servo motor can give out, and you won't be able to hear a sound going off, but your blend doors won't be actuating.